Very good morning. This is Bala Murali, Assistant Professor, Department of BB, D. Vaishnav College, Chennai. Presents one day FDP on Decode NTNet. Okay. So many of you are having awareness about net examination, but still, how to approach the examination? What are the strategies you need to follow to crack the examination? It's still a gray area, correct? So before we can divide it into parts like before preparation. So we will see that first. First of all, you should collect the syllabus wise ideas like notes, materials which satisfies your syllabus. The paper one, you no need to worry, there are a lot of materials available in the market. Okay. Paper two, any specialization if you take, it is tough to get materials. Okay. So how to organize materials? That's what the question is all about. How to organize materials. Number one, you should take the syllabus first. You should take the syllabus. Then you should sort out the list of standard authors for the particular syllabus. For example, research methodology, I could say it is C.R. Kothari. For example, communication, it is Rajendra. So things like this, I told you for your understanding. See, I'm not marketing any books here. Try to understand. So it's for your understanding what is called a standard author. Okay, because the questions are usually from standard author books, not from some local author books. For university examination, you could have studied from a lot of local author books, but it is not the case with NET examination. You should not go for any local author book. International or national wise standard author, which is preferable. So from that book, you take photocopies of pages which matches with the syllabus. Correct? Like C.R. Kothari, you can take Xerox photocopy of the pages which satisfies the syllabus, or you can take notes from the particular book and keep it handy. Anyway, it could be okay. Or purchasing a book, segregating the pages, that is also fine. Understanding SWOT of net aspirants to get the direction to success. That is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Every candidate should understand his or her own strength and weakness. Again, take down the syllabus and just to mark down where you are strong and where you are weak. That is more than enough. First of all, you should complete your strong areas, then go to weak areas if you are having time. In both paper 1 and paper 2, you should be able to complete minimum 8 units out of 10 at master level. Try to understand, minimum 8 units out of 10 at master level. Then lesson plan versus time plan or study plan. Okay, so usually it's a timetable to stick with. I could say if you are planning for net and crack it in the December, for example, then from July you should devote 6 hours every day. But remember, every half an hour once you should change your subject matter. For example, first 30 minutes I study teaching aptitude. Next 30 minutes I go for paper 2. Then I take a break 5 minutes. Then next 30 minutes research aptitude, communication, whatsoever. It goes like this. Prepare a timetable like this because our attention span, our attention span is not more than 30 minutes. Okay, so like this, you prepare your own timetable and stick with that. And There is always a difference between preparing MCQ paper and the descriptive paper. So MCQ paper, you should be conceptually very strong, and reasoning wise, you should be very strong. That's why you may be good at subject matter, but when it comes to MCQ questions, you are not able to crack the examination. I know people whose PG score is more than 75 percentage, but still they're struggling with NET examination. The reason is you're all practiced with direct questions like what is research, define teaching, direct questions, right? But in net examinations, questions are usually indirect. Like which of the following is not the characteristics of research or teaching? Questions are always indirect. No book says that which of the following is not the feature. No book says that in the world. But you should have logical thinking. You should have reasoning, rational thinking to answer the particular question. You may be master in the subject matter, but without knowing the reasoning, I mean, every question is having a reasoning. I'm not talking about logical reasoning unit particularly. I'm talking about generally, every question is indirect and makes you think. For that, you need regular practice and training as well. So here you should be conceptually strong, and you should be reasoning wise very strong to answer a particular question. Preparation phase, time management. Before going for real examination, you should attempt at least five minimum. Worst cases, it should be five full length question papers you should solve. There are two methodologies of solving question paper. Number one, sitting in a place where there is no disturbance and start working out paper 1 for 1 hour and paper 2 for 2 hours. Stop there. Don't take more time, because in examination it is only 3 hours, right? So for practice also you should take only 3 hours, not more than that. But once you complete paper 1, paper 2, let us say you are able to attempt 30 in paper 1, let us say 60 in paper 2, for example. After that, you sit for a approach session. This is number 2 in preparation part. Number 1 is taking test as per the time prescribed and stop the test. Then you evaluate yourself, take the score in a notebook. And then what you can do is sit with the same question paper, solve it, and see meaning of for every option you come across. See the meaning for every option you come across. Don't get satisfied only with the answer option. Let us say C is the answer, and you say that I know it is C. Don't get satisfied like that. Check out what is the meaning of A, B, and D. It widens your knowledge, because 150 questions paper 1 and paper 2 put together 150 questions. If this is the case, every question has four options. So one single question paper, if you go through, so 150 into four options, 600 concepts you are well versed in, clear. So when you prepare 10 question papers, 6,000 concepts, 20 question papers, 12,000 concepts. Any subject will not have more than 20,000 concepts. Any subject you take, it may be history, management, commerce, uh, computer science, whatsoever, right? Memory technique, whatever you are comfortable, mind mapping, acronym, mnemonics, whatever you are comfortable, you can. Consistence and the continuous preparation, what is that? As per the schedule which is given in the previous slide, you should not take break, in the sense, you, let us say you followed the schedule for, let us say, 1 month, and you are taking a break for 15 days. What happens? Any idea? Usually your learning speed comes down. I will give you another example also. Continuously for a month you practice in the gym, right? Let us say 1 month is over now. Second month, you take 15 days leave, then again coming back to gym. What happens? Your muscles are facing difficulty to support you. Correct? The same case happens with the subject matter also. You should have a consistent and a continuous study plan. Otherwise, whatever you learn will not be there in the memory permanently. Okay, frequently asked question and question pattern. Always practice 5 years question paper, previous periodic examination, so that you know what is FAQ, in which area they are concentrating more. So success will be near. Forming a study group in WhatsApp or Facebook. So group learning would be appreciable. Post preparation phase. Yes, I have completed, let us say 10 units, 8 units, whatsoever from paper 1 and paper. Once you complete, you take test. There are many materials available in the market, previous year question paper sets, soft copy available across Google, so you can search and get it. Practice makes you perfect. Attempting test, evaluating test, feedback for improvement of the aspirants. But till you see the net certificate, till you see your name so and so gets qualified in the examination, till that time, don't stop preparing. Keep on preparing till you see your name in your net mark sheet or net certificate. Because many people stop preparing as soon as they attempt the examination and thinking that somehow they will pass. But top 6 percentage will pass in the examination, not everybody. So if 100 people attempting the examination, and let us say 100 people are getting 35 marks, I mean 35 percentage in paper 1, 40 in paper 2, those people are taken to another evaluation stating that 6 percentage, top 6 percentage is called net quality. So don't stop preparation. If you keep on preparing, let us say for 1 year or 1.5 year, unfortunately, if you are not able to clear, if that is the case, your knowledge expands in subject matter because it is paper 2. Your general reasoning and aptitude skills expands, that is in paper 1. Clear? So it is not based for preparation of net examination. And once you complete net examination, there are two aspects. One is JRF, another one is net. JRF refers to Junior Research Fellow. If you complete JRF, you should join in any uh, research organization or universities as a full-time PhD scholar. If that is the case, we'll be getting around 30,000 per month as stipend. Okay. Uh, JRF or NET both are considered as entrance examination for PhD. In case if you are holding MBA or MCOM, then you are welcome for public sector organizations. Once you clear NET examination, you may be a management trainee, accounting trainee, HR trainee, whatsoever. So package is also fatty. So it's a good opportunity to prepare for this examination. And once you complete NET across India, you can work anywhere as assistant professor. And NET is also a gateway to do PhD. Entrance, you are exempted from taking the university entrance. Right? Majority of cases, I could say. Examination phase. Don't look at the timer always. It is wasting your time. Number two, it is giving you stress. If it is you stress, it is okay. But majority of the time, it gives you distress. That is a negative stress which puts your performance down. Always do a guesswork, which is a logical guess, not a blind guess. So once you start preparing question papers, you will know what is blind guess, what is logical guess. Blind guess is just like that you are taking one answer. Logical guess, you have some logic to answer a question, though you know you don't know the answer or you don't know the subject matter. The attempting MCQs are different from DQs in aspect of grasping questions and getting conclusion with jiffy. Speed and accuracy matters. Some questions you can answer with grammatical match and even verbal associations. So those who are strong in English can easily understand both. Understanding examiner's perspective. This happens. Uh, this happens when you prepare more and more question paper. So that's what understanding examiners perspective. So in which area question comes, which area they don't ask. Then confidence boosters. Okay, what is confidence booster? I will give some practical example for that. So now I hope you are all seeing my browser. I typed NTA mock test. So this is the NTA website. You open the new window. So what you can do is select UGC net. The select your subject matter. Example. For example, I select English. Any paper you can select. Start mark test. So there will be default username and password. Don't change it. Click login. See, there are five colors given to you. That is a silver color. The question which is not visited. Red color, question visited but not answered. Green color, question answered. Violet color, not answered but marked for review. Green dot and violet color, answered and marked for review. So don't use all the options. When people see the word called review, they think that they are very experts. So they mark majority of questions for review. What happens? At the end of the examination, 150 questions colored in five different combinations like this. So I will get into the examination so that you know. See now, the first question is open and the timer started running. Right, timer is here. Timer. Okay. See, I open the first question. Uh, I don't know the answer. I go to the second question. Second question, mark for review. I didn't put any answer. That question, I put answer, mark for review. Fourth question, let us assume that another answer. Fifth question, another answer. Sixth question, I don't know. Seventh question, eighth question. It's all just 15 questions to show you how it looked like. Now, can you tell me? Now I answered around 23 questions. I mean, I attempted. Now, can you tell me which question is right, which question is wrong, or which question I need to go and work out? Let us assume that the time is over. You attempted all the 150 questions like this. If that is the case, can you tell me how to do that? It's confusing, right? Five colors, confusing. You should not attempt like this. Rather, what can you do? Open the question. See, now I'm redoing the work. Just for your understanding, I'm doing it. So always don't use 5 colors, use only 2 colors or 3 colors. Either your question should be in green or red, or your question should be in silver, green or red. So green color questions are answered already. Red color questions you opened but you don't know the answer. Silver colors are yet to be opened. So now you know there is a classification, so you can easily deduce the answer. Correct? So follow this approach. Otherwise, randomly, if you are doing this, then end of the examination, you will sit under confusion. Clear? So, what is the next thing can be done? Confidence booster. The first, let us say, out of 100 questions, the first 40 questions you attempt that decides remaining 20 questions success. So if you are able to attempt 60 questions, the first 40 questions must be the answers which is well known to you. So first of all, you should answer to the question which are very familiar to you. Otherwise, answering doubtful questions at the end of 40th question, your brain will say, all the 40 questions you answered were doubtful. What happens? The confidence level goes down. Other way around, all the 40 questions you attempted were right and perfect. Your brain says so at the end of 40th question. What happens? Your confidence level goes up. So next for 20 40 questions, you will write perfectly. Clear? This is psychological point of approaching a particular examination. Okay, attempt the question in logical order. That's what we have been talking about. So whatever the questions you know very well, you attempt it first. Select the right answer and eliminate the wrong one. Sometimes questions to options, sometimes options to question. So this is the reading comprehension tip. Always go from question to paragraph. Always go from read the question, then go to paragraph. You save a lot of time. Data interpretation also. Read the question, then search for data. So what happens? Many people started reading passage. It's a schooling technique where the teacher said, read the entire passage. You'll get idea about what to do. But in schooling, you are having 20-30 minutes to clear one reading comprehension. But here, to clear one reading comprehension question, you are having only 5 minutes. If it is only 5 minutes, then how come it is possible? Reading the entire passage takes 10 minutes because of your reading speed. If you are a good reader, 3 minutes is more than enough. But the best strategy is read the question, then search for the answer inside the passage. When you get the answer, stop reading, tick the answer, move to the next question. That's the methodology. Don't research the reading comprehension. It is not your duty here. These are the different types of question. As I told you, no, not only in logical reasoning, across paper 1 and paper 2, you can expect questions like this. Assessment, assertion, reason, statement, assertion, statement, conclusion, statement, course of action, statement and the cause and effect, strong or weak arguments, match of the following, etc. So post examination also keep preparing. As I said, till you see yourself on the board. Okay, this is a breakup of paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 50 questions, paper 2 100 questions, 2 marks each, totally 300 marks. 3 hours is given to you. And you can switch in between paper 1 and paper 2. And if you marked some wrong answers, you can clear it easily using the clear option which I used even the demo. So this is for our June 2019. Don't get panic, just to get the data. So totally 9 lakh 42 people, 42,000 people applied for the examination, registered. On the day of examination, only 6 lakh 81,000 turned up. Okay, 2/3 only turned up. Out of the appeared person, the qualified person is 50,000, and here on 4,000, 55,000 only. So this 55,000 across India is your competition if you prepared well, not this 9 lakhs. And inside this 50,000, if you do department segregation, every department will have 3,000, 4,000 people who qualified. Sometimes 2,000 also, right? So don't get panic. You can easily pass in the examination if you are preparing systematically. This is your paper on syllabus. So I'm going to tell you where the questions are usually from. I'm going to tell you where the questions are usually from. So objectives, levels, that is memory, understanding, reflective, characteristics of teaching, learner characteristics, okay, individual differences, instructional facilities, usually this online methods of teaching, some learner centric method of teaching, ICT based teaching support system, then evaluation systems. These are the highly repeated areas if you look at the previous year question papers. Research aptitude, but sometimes see there are tons of definitions for teaching, tons of definition for teacher learner. Don't read all those things and waste your time. You know who is a teacher and who is a learner, correct? Then why reading all those things and waste your time? Instead of that, getting into the content and start approaching things. Okay. Then research aptitude, software types, characteristics, the recent examination, positivism and post positivism, yes. Research methods, yes. Steps in research highly repeated. Research ethics repeated. ICT in research, yes. Thesis and article writing, that is formatting and referencing, yes. Okay. Research aptitude, if you prepare from standard author books, you don't need to worry about that. Teaching aptitude, be it psychology book, that matters a lot. Always go with the syllabus. Don't study something which is not mentioned in the syllabus. Clear? Okay, reading comprehension, I already explained you. You should read the question first, then go back to the paragraph. Always reading should be your habit so that you can crack the path very easily. And don't use your prejudgment. Whatever given in the passage, just look at it and answer it. Communication. So far, the questions are from characteristics of communication, classroom communication, non-verbal communication, mass media. So, whatever I'm giving you is for a last minute preparation. Sir, the next 15 days net examination is coming, how to upload something like that. But right now, you are having ample of time. Enough time you are having, even more than enough time you are having, so you can prepare from scratch, no issues. Because it takes minimum of 1.5 months or 2 months for net examination from today. Reasoning skills, yes, mathematical reasoning we'll see first. So, repeated area, fraction, time and distance, ratio proportion, percentage, profit and loss, interest, discounting, averages, number series, letter series, coding, decoding, relationships. So if you prepare the mentioned units here, I guarantee you a minimum of 3 to 4 questions out of 5. So models are always repeated. Geometry they will ask you rarely, and geometry are the important areas like circle, square, rectangle, triangle. That is repeated question. Okay, logical reasoning. The questions are usually from structure of arguments, structure of categorical proposition. So this time they concentrated more on, I mean, last lit examination they concentrated more on informal fallacies. Square of opposition, highly repeated area in the history of net examination. Distinguishing deductive and inductive, highly repeated question. Analogies, yes. Venn diagram, yes. And the Indian logic, there is means of knowledge. Different pramnas, all those things you should remember the Sanskrit version and English translation as well. And this requires a good material to go through or a good trainer to train you. Otherwise, logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, data interpretation will be quite tough for many. Okay, data interpretation. Many of you are committing this error. What is that? Getting into the table, chart, or figure, whatever is given, and researching the table and the chart. Okay, how many cars are given? How many colors are given? How many employees are given? It is not your duty over there to check the table. Even I wanted somebody who have even calculating the total of each and every row. Does it mandatory for the particular question asked next to the picture? So always read the question. Don't look at the chart. It will not give you any idea. Don't try to understand the chart. It's not our duty. Our duty is to answer the question and get qualified. Clear? It is very, very baseline. So read the question. So whatever the information they seek in the question, search for it in the table or chart given so that you can get the answer easily. Your time is very short, right? 1 minute per question. So don't do any activity which wastes your time. So far, there is no theory questions. So since the new syllabus is updated, they started giving theory parts like that. But so far, there is no theory questions they are asking. And though they are asking it, these things you already studied in your research aptitude part. So no need to worry about this. And graphical representation may be bar chart, pie chart, histogram, table chart, line chart, anything. Don't worry about the type of chart. What you should look at is the numbers given inside the chart or numbers given inside the table. We are going to play with numbers, not with the figures. Got it? Then data interpretation and data governance. So again, I will tell you there are 7 types of question you can expect from data interpretation. If you are good at these 7 types, I guarantee you can score 5 out of 5. That is 10 marks. Okay, what are all the questions? Percentage. If you want, you can note it down. Percentage, average, then percentage increase decrease, ratio proportion, highest value, lowest value, summation, difference, increase or decrease value. That's all, not more than that. So any net question paper you take, only these are the questions. Either they will ask you percentage or average, percentage increase, decrease, amount increase, decrease, highest value, lowest value, difference or summation. So always your mathematics or data interpretation is up to SSLC, that is 10th level, not more than that. So don't get panic when you look at a question from data interpretation. Clear? The next area is ICT. So general abbreviations you can expect like www, um, ISP, something like that. Then basics of computer, input output devices, internet, intranet, email, audio, video conferencing. And video conferencing is recently repeated area. Okay. Basics of email, recently a repeated area. Digital initiative of higher education, you can expect one question. Okay. Abbreviations, definitely one question. So ICT and governance. Okay. People, development and environment. It is my personal advice to people. If you are schooling physics, chemistry, biology, geography, is not up to the mark. The knowledge, it's bioscience, physical science, and earth science is not up to the mark. Then you can keep this unit as a choice. If you're having time, you can go through that. Otherwise, you can leave that. Because without understanding the basics of science, you cannot understand the unit. It is not about storytelling. So questions, majority of the times, and the recent question papers, if you look at little in depth in chemistry or little in depth in biology, so we cannot answer it just like that. But if your schooling science is good, then this is a cakewalk. There is nothing to worry in this unit. So important areas: Millennium Development Goal, Sustainable Development Goal, human and environment interaction. There is anthropogenic activity, environmental issues, one the types of pollutions: air, water, soil, noise, waste, climate change, etc. Impacts of pollution on human health, energy sources: solar, wind, soil, hydro, geothermal, biomass, nuclear, and forest. Natural hazards and mitigation strategies. Then all these important acts you should know: Environmental Protection Act, National Action Plan on Climate Change, international agreements or efforts, that is Montreal Protocol, Rio Summit, Convention of Biodiversity, Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, International Solar Alliance. Higher education, you can expect one question from current affairs in higher education and one question from current affairs in people and environment. And one question from Indian polity. In higher education, one question from current affairs, one question from Indian polity, and three questions from higher education itself. So starts from ancient education and post-independence era. All those things you should go through, like a story. Then try to know what is Oriental, conventional, and non-conventional learning. And professional, technical, skill-based learning. Value education, environmental education. So these are the areas where you can expect questions. In policies, governance, and administration, that is the end part of it. I hope you got the idea about how to approach NET examination. If you want to prepare online, then you can text to my WhatsApp number. So we're always open to include new learners in our group. It's a free group, fine. And if you're having any doubt, also you can WhatsApp me the same number, so I can explain you if you're having any doubts regarding NET examination. Thank you. All the best to your examination. And I would like to thank the institution for giving me this opportunity to present how to approach NET examination, that is decoding NTA NET. Thank you. Good day to all. This is Balamurli signing off.